Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank the witnesses for being here today. As I continue to listen to the rhetoric from the other side of the aisle, we can pretend that Obamacare is popular, but it's not. People didn't want Obamacare. They didn't want socialized medicine when it was crammed down their throats several years ago. To sit there and demagogue Republicans for just trying to make this into something it isn't is disingenuous, and today's hearing is a great example of why one of the reasons this is failing. Dr. Cohen, what qualified CMS to set up and provide oversight for these co-ops in the first place?
The Affordable Care Act provided the statute and the funding for the co-op program.
Okay. Did CMS have any qualifications or experience in setting up these type of programs and overseeing them?
Well, we do. CMS also obviously runs Medicare, the largest insurer in the country. But in terms of how we decided on the co-op programs themselves, obviously they are private businesses. We had a panel of experts, both externally and internally, whether it's insurance experts and actuaries and others, who reviewed co-op business plans before making decisions about who would be awarded the loans.
Okay. And I guess at the beginning it was accepted that probably only about 60% of these loans at best were going to be paid back. So I question, why weren't they just called grants, or at least a large majority of the money? So
they are very much loans, and we do very much expect to get taxpayer dollars back for those loans. And that's what we intend to do. Okay.
How many co-ops were initiated?
24.
Okay. How many of them are still in existence?
11.
11, so more than half have failed?
Yes, that is correct.
And
there was only 11 currently operating.
And so that loan money we're probably not going to recoup, right?
So we are in the process of recouping that loan money right now.
How much money are we talking?
So we've just started that process, as most of these co-ops have just shut their doors about 6 weeks ago. So we go through an extensive process of making sure they continue first their claims run out, and then we'll look at their, the excess revenue, and then use all the tools available to us through their loan agreements and state and federal law to pull back federal tax dollars.
Okay, Tennessee had Community Health Alliance, or CHA. By the end of 2014, they had only had about 2,300 members out of a projected 25,000, resulting in a loss of $22 million for the year. In 2015, they actually lowered the premiums to try to entice membership, and boy, did it work. It jumped up to 35,000 by May of 2015, but it grew so fast during the open enrollment period that CHA had to suspend enrollment plans. They proposed an increase in premiums because obviously it was too affordable, kind of a bait and switch, if you will, of 32%, but the regulators asked to increase it to 44%. So for these poor people that decided to take a chance on this co-op, they came in at a certain rate, had their rates almost double, and then it was determined by the end of the year that it was no longer sustainable, and they shut down. So a cap was imposed on Community Health Alliance on September 29th, and then just 2 weeks later, it closed its doors. How can you say that these corrective measures are useful when 50% of the co-ops subject to caps have failed?
So we use the corrective action plans when we identify something that we believe is correctable. In the case of Tennessee, obviously we were identifying problems, and then we saw additional new information that came to light about their finances, about what happened in Q2 of their claims experience. As you're mentioning, they were highly enrolled, so they had a lot more. Their consumer base was extremely high to their premium that were coming in. And so we, along with the Departments of Insurance, need to make some tough decisions about wanting to make sure that consumers had continuous coverage, and didn't want them to enter the next open enrollment period if they couldn't make it through the whole next year. And so we, along with the Department of Insurance, said that they were no longer going to be operating.
And this is not just Tennessee. This has happened in a lot of states, correct?
We have shut down 11 co-ops, that's right.
11 co-ops. So what do you tell a person that's going to look for insurance? Why would you recommend anyone looking for insurance or their family to go to a co-op?
Well, that's why we did the tough work at the end of last year before the open enrollment period started. We, along with the state departments of insurance, took a seriously hard look at these co-ops to make sure the ones that would continue forward, we had the confidence would make it through 2016 for their consumers.
But you say that this CAP program is the solution to fixing these problems. How many programs were under caps that have failed?
So I don't think the cap is the only solution. I think the co-ops themselves are really the ones who are going to be the ones to determine whether or not they ultimately will be successful. They have a lot of work to do to rapidly mature their entities. They're small businesses, as you know, and they're still getting their foothold on this business. So I think caps are one way for us to identify correctable problems, but certainly the state departments of insurance are doing their own work as well.
Yeah, but bottom line, the CMS was given in excess of $2 billion to help oversee these, and over half of them have failed, but yet you're asking us to have the confidence to continue to support organizations that are obviously failing, and it's awful difficult, I would think, to attract people. It's a big inconvenience for these people to go sign up for insurance, have their rates jacked, and then told that they're canceled. So, I mean, I think we've got a lot bigger problems here. I see my time has expired, but maybe we'll get to a second round of questioning.